Back now with better tech tips. Many of us seem to always be on our phones, but what apps are we safe using, and what apps are actually installed on your phone
that you don't know you're using,
right,
or someone else is using? Stan Prager, GoGeeks, is here with more. Hey, Stan.
Hi.
Are you double checking your phone? We did not install anything while you were here.
I want to make sure that this has not become a weapon being used against me. So this is actually not funny. You know, there's been a lot of jokes about these things, but it's really not funny.
Right.
There are all these apps available that can be installed by somebody on your phone. It's usually in a romantic relationship sense, where somebody wants to track what their significant other is doing, what they're texting, what pictures they might be sending. Some of them even will video you.
Yikes.
And yes, exactly. It's really creepy. So you would think there'd be some kind of control on this kind of thing, but there isn't. There's literally 200 of these apps that can be installed.
I've never heard of them before.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised they exist, but I've never heard of them.
I was not familiar with them at all. Apparently 5 years ago, a guy installed an early version of this kind of software called a SMS tracker on his wife's phone because he suspected she was cheating on him. It turned out that confirmed that she was cheating on him. He then killed her and her children. So you would think that something like that, this was 2013, you think that something like that would say, well, maybe we need to have some kind of regulation on it.
Yeah, let's prevent this.
There are laws that prevent electronic tracking and stalking.
Yeah.
Yeah, stalking laws, right? Both state and federal ones. But there's no laws against selling these apps. And some of them masquerade as a way to keep tabs on your kids. There's one called Kid Guard, you know, and you can install that and, you know, keep an eye on what your kids are doing at all times. But they advertise that same app for you can, like, read your partner's text messages. So they know exactly what they're selling.
Here's a question. Can it be installed on your phone remotely like they'll do with your computer, or is it such that they'll need direct access to your phone at least for a few seconds?
So you might be giving somebody an idea out there, but currently, as far as
I
we
doubt
know,
it. The criminals are way ahead of it.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I know, at this point, that's not possible. They need physical access to your phone. So, and what they need is a physical access to your phone, and they need your password, which is pretty common in a romantic relationship, that this information would be there. But a scenario I could also foresee is somebody, you know, a girl's at a bar talking to a guy, she puts her phone down, he happened to look over her shoulder, see her passcode. Maybe her phone is set up so she doesn't need to use a password to install apps, or an app that's under $5 or something, and boom, he installs it on there. She's completely unaware of it. This app will then track everywhere she goes, location tracking, pictures she's sending and receiving, social networking.
What a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, and the fact that these are for sale and exist was kind of shocking to me, and I'm not shocked by very much. I have to say, early on in the computer business at GoGeeks, we had a client on their computer whose husband had installed something called keylogger software. So anything that she typed in, he could capture.
So much for trust in the relationship.
I know.
Exactly. So he was able to monitor her email. That was the point, because he could get her email password and her banking password.
See what she
and he was
typed.
able to track her, and then eventually, you know, he found out that she was doing some things that he didn't appreciate, and it led to divorce. And we were actually asked to participate in the legal process, and I refused.
You begged
off.
Yeah, I didn't want to get involved.
How do
in
we
this.
know, or are there any ways to suspect that we're being tracked? Will our phone
will there
act
be an
differently?
icon? How do you know?
There's no icon. What will happen is that your battery will use a lot faster. But of course, that can just happen from a new iOS update on an iPhone, right?
What do you do?
The other way that you can tell would be if somebody that you knew casually happened to know more about you than you expected,
So
or
that's really
somebody you were involved with seemed to suddenly have a lot more information about what you were doing, could make you suspect. Now, what you can do is, if you suspect something like this is happening with your phone, you could back up your data and do a complete factory reset. Okay? Which is really very painful experience for any of us to have to do, right?
It just takes a long time to back it up. But what about if you look at your apps listed?
It's not listed.
It won't even do that?
No, that's why it's spy software. See, there's spy. That's a spy app. A spy app wouldn't be really good if it said, "Hi, Brittany.
Yeah.
Spying on you, Stan.
We know what you're doing.
Scary and disturbing
Yeah,
as usual.
I know.
Well, I'm glad I could help. I really wanted to do a happy, you know, GoGeeks recommends great new stuff for you, and I stumbled across this because I was looking for phone apps to recommend. So next time, phone apps to recommend that won't track you.
Okay, thanks, Stan.
Thank
Coming
you.
up next.